Hey everyone, I hope you guys have had a great week so far. So I don't have any behind the scenes video to show you, but I wanted to show you some behind the scenes in terms of a lighting diagram and what I am using to light the various families that I'm working with this holiday season. So it's a simple 2-light setup. Go ahead and bring me on the screen here. 2 soft boxes, camera in the middle, basic off studio or off camera lighting, studio lighting here. So just wanted to go into a couple of settings with the soft boxes, with the camera, with the subject, with the background, talk about how I would do all that. And then this simple 2-light setup has allowed me to produce images such as this right here. Let me bring him back on the screen here. So this is one of several. You guys, like I said, may have seen this already. You may have not, but this is going to be one of a couple that I will show you with that, again, has been created with just this simple 2-light setup here. So let's go ahead and jump into here. I'll talk about a little bit of this here. Let me grab my pen and show you how I do my studio portraits here. So you got 1 softbox here, you got 2 softboxes here. I sometimes will use a 3rd if I'm going for any kind of dramatic lighting. So I may have this guy coming at him this way. I may have a strobe here or some type of lighting coming this way for, again, some dramatic lighting, backlighting, anything like that. But for the most part, for simple portraits like this, it's just a 2-light setup here. So got a 48-inch softbox here, got a 32-inch softbox here, and both of these are octaboxes. You're gonna have to forgive my chicken scratch. It is a little hard to write with this pen on the tablet here. So I actually prefer the round soft boxes over the square ones. Just a preference of mine. I won't go into all that, but I've been working with the octaboxes, the 48-inch, 32, and I've even got one larger than that. But I've been working for them for, gosh, probably 10 years now at least. Some of you maybe like me. I used to be an Alien Bees guy, and I switched over to the lighting system that I'll talk about in just a few minutes here. And when I did that, I've got numerous square soft boxes, numerous octaboxes, and I kind of went in panic mode and thought, I don't want to spend all this money investing in new soft boxes. There's got to be a way I can just change out the mount, and I ended up finding a converter online where I could just take the ring out of all the policy buff soft boxes I had, put in this new ring, which is a Bowens mount ring, and that will allow it to work with the new lighting system that I'm using now. So save me a lot of money, save me a lot of time, and I'm still able to do the studio type shots here. I'm also able to take this same setup and go on location with it. So whether I'm at the park, whether I'm at the gardens, I've actually done this at the beach as well. And it's worked out great. Let me change one setting here while I see it inside the Photoshop. So let me jump back in here. In terms of soft boxes and what they are mounted to, I am using the 8400 Pro, and there's also an 8400 Pro here, and sometimes I will even use the 200. So now you might be thinking, what does that look like? Let me show you. This is the 8400 here. Bowens mount, softbox, obviously your light softbox heads here. Got your battery back here. And then you've got all your controls that set here. So that, again, is the 400. The 200 looks like this. I've got a couple of each of these guys. There is your light there. Obviously, receiver there, your controls there, and then this is mounted, this is mounted on top of the camera. This is the flash point. This is actually the R2 Pro C there. Let me turn this guy on. And there's what that looks like in terms of all the lighting ratios that I have used in the past. So there's the 1/16, 1/32, and I'll go into that in just a second here. Let me check something real quick. All right, so take me off the screen. Let's jump back into the Photoshop, and I'll talk about that. So in terms of lighting ratios, as you've seen here, this guy is usually at 132. This guy is usually at 1/16. And again, I'm looking for, not necessarily the flat lighting, but I may want some dramatic lighting there, which is why they're at different ratios with regards to that. So let's see here. In terms of, there's obviously a receiver here, and then obviously this guy's on top of the camera communicating, and I can change those settings, like I said, in the camera at will when I need to. The camera settings, bring me back on the screen here. This guy is always at f4 when I'm doing studio portraits. I know some people like to use 5.6, some people like to use 6.3 and go up even higher. This is me right here. I'll go ahead and take all this off again. And the reason being is I like to create and utilize some separation between the subject and the background. So there may be times, and there are times, when I want everything on the same plane. I want everything to be in focus, and that would be a reason why you would want to go up to those settings. But for the most part, I stay at f4. Sometimes I will even come down to 3.2 or 2.8. And the reason being is, let me grab my mouse and bring this guy back up on the screen. I'll take me off. And as you look at this picture, you can see this sibling group in focus, and then you see that slight blur behind them with the background. Again, that is taken, and this shot is taken, or was taken at f4 during this image. And this will be one of several that I show you. So jumping back to the lighting diagram, when it comes to studio shots, just as I'm thinking of this, one thing that comes to mind that people often do sometimes is, making sure everything is set here, is sometimes they will, sometimes they'll take their subject and they'll end up placing them right back here. Now, I did the same thing when I first started, again, not knowing, but if you do that and if you place them right against the background, you're going to get shadow on this side and you're going to get a lot of shadow on this side, and that is definitely not what you want when you do any type of studio lighting. So the one thing that I would recommend, whether you're working with an individual, whether you're working with a family, take me off the screen here, is take your subject, get them away from the background, and get them at least 3 or 4 feet, 4 feet being ideal. Again, coming back to this image here, they are 4 feet at least, I think. At least it was 4 feet, maybe even 5 away from the background. And so as you're looking at the image, you don't see any shadow of any kind on the back of that brick wall behind them as far as the backdrop goes. Again, if you're jumping into studio lighting and you're wanting to learn, again, the big thing I would recommend is this right here. Keep them away from the backdrop, move them away from the backdrop, and your pictures will come out and will go up dramatically in terms of that. What else can I tell you here? I've got the ratios here. I've shown you the lights. I've shown you the receiver, the transmitter. That's really it. I guess let's jump into the image, guys. Show you that. So here's one image. There is another stepping away from the backdrop here. I'm getting some more of that detail of the drop. This is another image here, and then this is another one of the mother and the daughter here. So I will talk about these two real quick. Let me jump into the lighting, jump back into the lighting diagram here. So a lot of people ask me, what do you have right here in terms of the lens? So lenses I like to use are the 85 1.2, the 7200, if I can write. I like to use the 135, and then when I'm in a tight space and if needed, I will use the 2470. But these three and these two specifically are the ones that I will go to the most. These are the prime lenses. They tend to be much sharper than your 7200 or 2470 that I found. So I will tend to use the primes, the 85, the 135, sometimes the 50. And the images, they just come out just beautiful. This guy here, take me off the screen here. This guy was taken with the 2470, And this was taken with the 2470. And this one here, as well as this guy here, was taken with the 85. So in terms of this scenario, when I was doing this session, so I had room. I had the backdrop set up right here, and then I had one set up right here. But in terms of space, I had a whole lot of room to work with here, shooting this way, and then I think the wall was about right here for this backdrop. So there wasn't a whole lot here. So when I shifted to let's see here. When I shifted to this backdrop here is when I had to switch to the 2470 and go a lot wider and shoot this way, because that's when I was working and shooting this way. And of course, with the other images, I had a whole lot of room to step back with the 85 and, you know, kind of get what I wanted at that point. So again, there's this image here, this beautiful image of mom and her daughter here, the two siblings here, and then the family group here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me bring me back on the screen here. I'll take these off. And again, just wanted to show you just the simple diagram, the simple lighting diagram that I use, what I'm working with, how things are, or how I do things, what lenses I use, the settings I use. And of course, that big one when you're into when you get into studio lighting is 3 or 4 feet away from the backdrop. I see I see this so often in various groups. I'll see like a beautiful picture, and then I'll be like all this shadow over here, and I'm like, oh man. But anyway, you know, we're all in the same boat. We're all learning, and like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and you know, I have fun, you know, making these videos. So again, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one. All right, have a good one, guys.